Shalom Yashrala, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone and taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here. This is going to be a quick little lesson dealing with this here video that I saw, or more or less it's a little short, a YouTube short. I'm going to play it here in the background here in a second. But, just watching some videos and things like that, coming across some of these here topics, you're starting to see Jake now, asking, a lot of quote unquote valuable questions. All right. But yet and still, at the end of the day, and I've noticed with a lot of these here questions that's being asked and everything else like that, it's typically, Jake women that's asking these questions. But, they'll go on to YouTube and, and obviously these are on TikTok, it's I guess they uploaded it on TikTok. You can see the little thing in the background, but somebody else will upload them on onto YouTube, all right, in the YouTube short section. But again, you can clearly see the person who's actually posing the question. These Jake women. But like I said, they'll go to the internet to seek answers for this. When I say the internet, I mean they'll put up a video and they'll go pose this here question in the comment section, come in, and we know how women, they react. All right, they act off of emotions. All right, so when somebody comes in and say certain things to them, it's just all these different things. Hence, you hear a lot of these women talk about, I got to just manifest this, my affirmations and all these different things. It's just all based off of that, but they don't want to face the ugly truth. And one thing about coming into this here truth, the scriptures talk about, it was sweet in my mouth and bitter in my belly. Hey, you got to go through the bitterness of all this here stuff, man. A lot of this, once you start finding out about the truth of who you are and the things that you have going on, it's how they would say, a hard pill to swallow. All right, yeah, we in captivity. The truth is, hey, we went into captivity. We had to go through this hardcore bondage and all this crazy, slavery and this torture and things like that because we disobeyed the Most High, right? And, it is what it is. All right. And, you have that's a hard pill to swallow. And again, you talk to a lot of these women and things, or you hear these women speaking, or just, in your regular life, talking to these women and stuff like that. A lot of the times, I ain't no slave. I ain't come from no descendants of slavery. I ain't do this. I ain't do that. There's a lot of this so-called talk that goes around. I know, especially growing up, I used to always hear this all the time. It was one thing Jake used to always say, I ain't black. I don't descend from slavery and everything else like that, But the reality of it is this is where we come from, all right? But like I said, they like to deal in emotions. You ask them, all right, well, where was your forefathers from? You ever talk to your grandparents about any of these things? And for you Jakes that's out there, man, all right, especially you, no matter where you live at in America, but talk to your grandparents and ask them about certain things, man, because they know certain stuff, man. They're not going to just openly tell you about these things, but hey, man, just find out. You don't have to go, people talk about taking these DNA test kits and everything else like that and all these things to find out about their ancestors. Hey, I was able to find out about the plantations that my foreparents came from just simply by talking to my grandparents, man. All right, where my grandmother got her, her actual last name before she, got married or whatever. But, my mother's mother, talking to her where she got her last name from, she's named after a plantation. All right, my other grandmother, they come from their name come from a plantation as well too. All right, and both of these plantations, well, one of them is still open today as a tourist attraction. The other one is actually still open today to the same very day. And then my father's mother still live in the same proximity in the same area where that those generations was right there. They're not far from it. And, they still do the same type of work, serving basically Edomites, cleaning their house and everything else like that, man. So hey, you're not very too far discontinued. From not to say your heritage as far as the scripture go, but hey, where we were not that long ago. Because like I said, speaking to my father's mother, all right, hey, she wound up showing me, in backwoods of Georgia and everything. Hey, that's that little shack that your father was born in. You know what I'm saying? And, there's this cotton field that's right here beside it. This was the plantation that, my parents, come up from off of and everything else like that, and their parents from off of the same plantation and everything else like that, man. All right, showing me all these different things and telling me all these different stories. So just speaking to them, it's not, you'd have to be a damn fool to try to deny these things. Like when you can hear it from your grandpa while they're still alive. You know what I'm saying? It's not that long ago, man. All right, but yet and still, they don't want to face these hard truths. But nevertheless, hey, as we've been given this here truth to open up our eyes to see the things that we see, and it's really ultimately when you look at it, hey, it's a blessing to find out that, yeah, you descend from, the transatlantic slave trade, or hell, even the so-called Native Americans and the Latinos in the slave trade that they went through. That's how you would say now, and nowadays is quote unquote is a badge of honor. Because why? Hey, the Spirit beareth witness that we are the children of the Most High. All right, we fit these descriptions. We fit these here things, man. You know, you hear about Jay, oh, I ain't no slave. My people was never slaves. And this and that. Oh, so I guess you was an Edomite. So since you ain't never been in slavery, get ready to be prepared for slavery. Oh, no, this, and that. But see, like I said, they don't want to hear the hardcore truth. So I'm going to make this here response video onto this here video we'll make this response to a video, you know, where this Jake woman is asking, you know, not really getting onto this here Jake woman because she brings up a lot of great points. But like I said, the majority of our people, they don't ever really consider these things. As the scriptures say, let me see, where's that at? Let me see if I can find this precept real quick. Hang on. Let me see if I can find this here precept real fast. Is it Haggai? Give me 1 second to find this here precept. I thought it was 5 or 6. Let me try wrong way. I don't know how I just overlooked this, but anyway, Haggai chapter 1. The point I wanted to grab is verse 5, but you know, also going into verse 6. All right, but this is one of the things that, you know, the point I wanted to make here by considering your ways. It says Haggai 1:5. Now therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. All right, consider the things that we're going through. This again, we're gonna watch or listen to this here video. All right, and you know. Well, let me let this video play. This is really a short video and everything else like that. But hey, this is part of considering your ways. Whenever you know, and this is another thing I've been noticing and going through as far as just being sober. Like the scripture say, be sober, be vigilant. All right, you know, and that's just clear-minded. But hey, just thinking about America, man, how do I put it? How much how inebriated you can become here in America, you know, whether it be with drugs, alcohols, and things like that. That's on a surface level. But how much more of our people are high on just entertainment and stuff like that, man? Spend all days keeping up with the Kardashians, spend all days looking at Basketball Wives and all this here's other stuff, TikTok and all this other bullshit. And you never really sit back and consider the things that you got going on in your world. You never really consider just the shit that's going on around you, or how our people are treated, or the things that's going on. I'm like, yo, man, hey, if this was us, that wouldn't be like that. If it was them, it wouldn't, you know, all these different things. You know, I was watching some videos going into like, you know, some foul shit going on these, what they call dating apps, Tinder and all these different things about these dudes who take advantage of these women. And one common thing I found out about all the cases that they was talking about was they was all Edomites. Everybody on there was all Edomites. You know, there was Edomite men and Edomite women and things like that. And the story kept going, hey, well, the women will wind up reporting them to the authorities and all this and that. They knew where they live, and then the authorities got involved, and they was just like, yo, they go to the dude's house, tell them to delete the videos, and hey, man, hey, just chill what you doing. Now, we know that these is Edomites. If these was Jake men that was doing these things, bro, they would be hung. All right, they would be put all on blast on the media, the news, and everything about how much of a horrible monster that they were and everything else like that, man. All right, hey, if they would allow their fathers to go out there and hunt them down, like pray. He did this, and that to my daughter and everything. And you know, we know what it is, man. But how come you don't ever consider your ways? Because, you know, you have things like Emmett Till, so-called whistling at a white woman, all right, and get killed. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, there's no, how you say, there's no redemption for that. All right. So, hey, we know what it is out here, man. So you have to, like, let's read it one more time. Haggai 1:5. It says, now, therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. All right. So I'm going to let this here video play.
Don't do our own distribution, our own production, our own banking, our own hospital, health.
Hang on 1 second. Let me show you, see if I can get that back up again from the beginning. All right, here we go.
Do y'all know, like, we the only one who don't do our own distribution, our own production, our own banking, our own hospital, healthcare. We depend on everybody else for these things. Our own education.
And that's the point. Hey, you know, I'll let the rest of the video play here in a moment. But again, consider your ways. Why do we have to go to Esau for all these damn things, man? You know what I'm saying? And I always make this here argument about, you know, when it comes to men and women's sports and all these men places that women be complaining about. Oh, how come they don't have a women's version of this? They should let women partake in this. Like, look, it's a men's only club. If you so pressed about the shit, instead of marching, trying to be included in this, go create your own shit. Why don't, you know, they got male this sport or that's, well, okay, we'll go create a women's sport version of it. We don't need y'all trying to infiltrate our situation like that, man. All right, and then when you look at it, you know, people, oh, that's sexist and everything. Well, that's the truth, man. All right, you want to talk about segregation? Look at, you know, obviously we have curses on this, but let's just look at this. If you really know your history, Jake was doing fine after slavery economically. All right, when we had our own shit, when we were segregated, when we started integrating things, guess what? We gave up all of our properties, all of our businesses, and everything else like this for an opportunity, for a chance of an opportunity to go goddamn work for Esau and have him extract all the resources from us. We wanted to be integrated with them instead of going and create. Well, we already had our own fucking space, man. We didn't need no goddamn job from Esau, man. And they have it. They sell it to you this way. Oh, coloreds only, whites only. Hey, man, black people didn't want to go and eat into these goddamn white folks' restaurants, man. Think about it nowadays. When you go around some of these straight up, where you know it's an Edomite diner or some shit like that, some Cracker Barrel or something like that. You're like, motherfucker, I don't want to go over there and eat, man. That shit is not popping. It's not flavorful. It ain't got no salt on it. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of, you know, the salt of the earth. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be included in that shit. You don't see Jake trying to, besides the little one boy, but you don't really see Jake trying to infiltrate the goddamn country music and everything else like that. Esau trying to get up into our shebang, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? You know, you always see these things about, oh, coloreds or whites only can't eat over here, this, and that. And Jake, they always showing Jake being all sad about it. When in reality, it was probably the other way around where Esau was going in like, nah, these is nigga only pies. You know what I'm saying? Because look, let's be honest. Esau, you know, you do have some coon sellout Jakes that be begging to go to the white people cookouts, but in reality, it'd be majority of these Edomites that's trying to come to Jake cookouts, man. Trying to be not emphasis, you know, they trying to be a part of Jake's connections. All right, so ultimately, you know, you have these you know, these not ideas, but these perceptions that's being pushed off. But hey, man, you never really considered your ways. And another thing is, you know, I don't want to know about slavery. This is them so far. Hey, man. If you never know about your past, you never know where you really come from, man. Oh, we've always been economically, we just poor because of this, and that in our environments. Like, bro, we've been way more economically better than this, fresh out of slavery, man. Oh, the black man has always been against the black woman. He's always hated the black woman. Like, yo, when we ain't have shit, your nappy ass head and stinking ass after slavery and shit all out, and like, you know, saying these things because we didn't have the luxuries of living in air conditioning and everything else like this. So think about this, man. You living in a goddamn sweatbox in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of slavery, all right, or after slavery. You know you wasn't all prettied and dimed up while you was in slavery, and guess what? We were still marrying y'all women at that point in time, man. All right, it's only up until this here point in time where things are getting bad, but see, they don't understand the past versus the future. But another thing that they never do is they never consider their ways. Oh, Jake just want Jake men just want the white woman and this and that and all these different things going on, but they never consider their own ways of how they're acting. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, look, so-called Jake go off somewhere else, or how they call it, Jake go, what they call it, it's a word for it, passport bros. Guys going off and go getting their women's other places, going after the Beckys and all these things. Now these women, they got to turn for them now being divestors. Like, what other nationality of people is bending over backwards, jumping in these Jake women DMs trying to holler at them like that, man? None of them really want them. So you can say whatever you want to say, but again, go back to your past and look at the things. Consider your ways, man. All right, so let's let this here video play again. Marie, Haggai 1:5. Now, therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. All right. It says, you have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but you have not enough to drink. Ye drink, Salak. You eat, but you have not enough. Ye drink, but you are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put in a bag with holes. So basically, every time you go to try to do something, you know, you're a day late, a dollar short. You're always a step behind. All right, you don't really ever have enough, man. You're doing all this here stuff, and it never really adds up to anything, man. All right, consider your ways. Listen to what this here woman is saying. Why are we the only people that have to go and depend on all these other nations for everything else, man? All right, you over here begging Esau for a job. Man, the white men don't want to hire me. They being racist. Go create your own fucking job, man. Because look at it at the end of the day. Consider your ways, man. When you look at these factories, any of these businesses, man, at the lowest level, it's always Jake doing all the goddamn jobs. But then at the highest level, you always got Esau at the top of the ladder. Guess what? Esau don't ever know how to run the damn operation of what he's even in control of. If it wasn't for Jake, shit wouldn't be shaking. So why don't y'all Jakes just get together and go do your own thing, man? All right, well, we, again, understand that there's curses upon us, but these are the things that you should be considering, man. All right, we have all the ability to do all these things, but we just don't. We so busy at each other's throat because, wow, we taking the fucking pill from Esau, man. All right, you know, the scriptures say a house divided cannot stand. All right, Esau understands that divide and conquer, man, keeping us at each other's throat and everything else like that. How is it that we'll sit here and let Esau disrespect us and do all these crazy things to us, but when Jake do these things to us out of, you know, maybe the necessity, hey, I ain't got it right now, it's always a goddamn problem, man. All right, you know, Jake, shit, you'll have Jake parents that'll borrow some money from their own kids, or, you know, you might borrow some money from your siblings and you ain't really pressed to pay them back. And then be mad when you try to ask them for the money back and everything, even though they're in a fucked up financial situation. You finna be mad at them for asking for the money back that, you know, you can have your little bitty petty ass money, keep asking me about this. It wasn't little and petty when you asked me for it, but now all of a sudden it's little and petty. But then when the white man, you go borrow money from the white man, you go, oh shit, I need to borrow some money so I can go pay Esau back his money real quick. Girl, I need this money. You see what I'm saying? But you never consider your ways, man. Esau's like got us so divided up, you know, that we at each other's throat, man. Always trying to outdo one another, always trying to outshine one another, always trying. You don't see Esau over here doing these things like that, man. You don't really even see them with their external beasts, except for on a world stage, you know, like the time we're living in now with the wars and rumors of wars. Hey, but you see all of our dirty work, you know, posted all over the place, man. Music talking about killing one another and all these different things, and at the end of the day, we don't have really nothing for nobody, man. And then, you know, you have the question, it's like, well, whenever we get put on or we get into a position, we never really share with our people. Well, people who say those types of things have never been in a position to actually give back to their people, because if they were, they would realize that the people that they're supposed to be trying to give back to, they're just trying to take advantage of you. They don't give a damn about it. They're going to sit there and look. You know, you get your own business. They don't want to come and pay full price at your establishment. They always want a discount. They always want the hookup. Then they always going to trash your situation. When they go above and beyond and pay extra for Esau shit, you know what I'm saying? And then always give them high ratings and everything else like that, man. All right. But let's just listen to this video one more time real quick.
Do y'all know, like, we the only one who don't do our own distribution, our own production, our own banking, our own hospital, healthcare?
Before we get to this here video, let me read this real quick. Deuteronomy 28:1. Now, this is 1 through 14 is going to the blessings that the Most High would have blessed us with if we would have kept this law, statutes, commandments. All right. So Deuteronomy 28:1 is, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power to observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth. And, you know, I'm going to read down a little bit more, but let me just, I mean, I could read all of this. But anyway, the point I wanted to make here was the fact that, look, if we will follow after the law, statutes, commandments, but see how people are so far from it. I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to. We're just so far out of order. And just to give it to you in the lamest terms, I don't want, this is what you sound like. I don't want to follow the ingredients or the instructions on how to goddamn bake that cake. I'm going to do it my own way. Then you're supposed to be baking a strawberry cake, and you wonder why you got just this flat shit that's all melting inside the oven, and you can't even get nothing to rise. You over here trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. Well, you put a little bit of motor oil in there, or look, you know, you're talking about frying some fish, and you go get some motor oil. Oil is oil. It's all the oil I got. And you trying to figure out what the hell is going on over here. This is how retarded our people sound, man. They don't want no guidance. The real true guidance. They'll go listen to Esau all goddamn day long, but they don't want to hear nothing from the Most High. As the scriptures say, they take counsel, but not of me. All right, you know, what is it? Isaiah chapter 30. All right, they take counsel, but not of me. They quick to go down into Babylon. All right, but and the Pharaoh, but they don't want to ask, you know, of me. All right, and this is what this is the, hang on a second. This is the extent of what we have going on. All right, give me 1 second. This is the extent of what we have going on out here, man. All right, our people are just lost in the sauce. So let me see if I can find this other. All right, Deuteronomy 28 verse 12. It says, "And Yahweh shall open unto thee his good treasures to his good treasure. The heaven shall give the rain upon thy land in a season, and to bless all the work of thy hand." And this is another thing, you know, you seem like Jake, every time Jake put his hand on something, it always fails. It always comes to naught. All right, you know, you try to be hustling. Everything you do sound like it's a good damn plan. It should work, but it never really works out, man. All right, but this, it was supposed to be as everything we touch so-called turn to gold, but it's the opposite right now, man. This is what we would have been blessed with, but consider your ways, man. All right, it says, "And thou shalt lend to many nations, and thou shalt not borrow." So we should be in a position to be lending to many nations and not borrowing. Think about it. We done built this whole country, but we don't own a goddamn thing in this country, man. Jake owning property here, we were like the smallest percentage of people of property owners in the land that we came over here and we built from the ground up, cultivated and everything else like that, gave it its riches and everything, but we don't own a piece of the goddamn pie. All right, so let's go ahead and listen to this here video.
Do y'all know, like, we the only one who don't do our own distribution, our own production, our own banking, our own hospital healthcare. We depend on everybody else for these things. Our own education. We are the only race of people who depend on everybody else for these things. What black-owned banks is in our communities? I went to go open up an account at a black-owned bank only to find out it was no longer black-owned. It haven't been.
Boom, you see what she's saying, like, hey, going into the lending and all these different things, the black owned banks. And there's a lot of things that you think is so-called black owned or black this or black that, like BET, if I'm not mistaken, was orchestrated by black folks in the beginning, but at the end all be all, they wound up selling out, so it's no longer black owned. All right, so you have to understand about all these different things that you even think or you see or you perceive as being of your own people. They may even have the face of it. It's like, oh, this is so honest. Look at all these black record labels, man. All right, all the little whoever got their own record label and everything, Cash Money, any of these goddamn labels, man, Death Row, Bad Boy, all these things. You have to understand they all smaller labels under an umbrella label. All right, at the end of the day, it's all owned by Edomites. All right, there are no black-owned labels, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? So, hey, you know, it's just like saying, hey, I got me an apartment. This is my apartment. I got the keys to my apartment. I can decorate my apartment however I want. But at the end all be all, hey, guess what? You still got to pay somebody rent every month. They can always kick you up out of that. They own the building. All right, they're going to say, look, you know what? We decided we're going to close this here building down at the end of the day. Or, hey, we decided we're going to evict you about this bad boy today, man. So, hey, this is the same thing. But it says here in Deuteronomy 28 and verse 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And we're in this here state now, very low at the very bottom, man. The stranger that came up, hey, think about the Native Americans, man. All right, somebody came over here, you know, they was over here living on this land, cultivating the land, getting rich up off this land and everything else like that. And a stranger came over here, and guess what? The tables have turned now, man. All right, you know, it's like the so-called Latinos and the Native Americans, or the Native Americans are on reservations. The Latinos are, you know, out here we call them camps. They live in the little Mexican camps and everything else like that, man. All right, you know, a thing of duplexes right across from the farm where they send the buses out and everything else like that. They doing all this here work. You see them in the construction, building up all these nice houses in these gated communities, and guess what? They get the gated communities to keep them up out of there, man. All right, so hey, you know, the stranger that's among us then got up way higher than us, man. All right, we at the very bottom. It says, and he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend unto him, and he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. So, hey, she's talking about black banking and all these different things, and, you know, but at the end all be all, hey, everything is owned by Esau. Now, granted, there are some places in the U.S. where I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, me growing up, you know, I had never really seen no white folks. In fact, I was actually friends with some white folks, but I didn't know that they was white because, you know, they was acting like Jake, and they was being, you know, had Jake men all around the house and everything else like that. You know what I'm saying? Knocking these Edomites up and everything. But hey, who knows? They might not even have been Edomites the way they, you know. But at the end all be all, you know, that was like the only so-called white folks that I had ever seen. But every time I seen a police officer growing up, it was all Jakes. Every time I went inside of any kind of store, you might have had some Indians here or there. But for the most part, everybody inside of any store was Jakes. You, like I said, the police officers, the judges, the doctors, the teachers. You know, you go to the doctor, go get a checkup. Your doctor was going to be a Jake. You know what I'm saying? You know, anywhere you go, it was all Jakes. But guess who's actually running and controlling all these damn people, man? It was Edomites. All right, you know, even with the police departments and things like that, man. You know, you have, you know, Jakes is running around out here at the end all be all, but at the top of the ladder was Edomites running all these things, man. All right, so hey, Jake still had to go. These wasn't Jake establishments, is what I'm trying to get at. These wasn't Jake schools. These was Edomite schools that employed nothing but Jakes. Just like, all right, to give you a better example than that, the NFL teams. You can find NFL teams where the majority of the people on the teams is Jakes. You're like, oh, that's an all-black team. But guess who owns the damn team, man? It's the Edomite that own the damn team, man. All right, so at the end of the day, hey, who really getting all the money up off of that, man? It's the Edomites, all right? Let's go back.
Do y'all know, like, we the only one who don't do our own distribution, our own production, our own banking, our own hospital healthcare. We depend on everybody else for these things. Our own education. We are the only race of people who depend on everybody else for these things. What black-owned banks is in our communities? I went to go open up an account at a black-owned bank only to find out it was no longer black-owned. It haven't been for 5 years. Mm-hmm. Where are our black-owned grocery stores? Our black-owned hospitals where the head of the hospital is black, the nurses are black, the doctors are black. You can refer this black woman to a black specialist because y'all know who doing that? Jewish people, the Arab people, they all doing it. The Koreans are doing it. Why aren't we doing this? Why are we? Our doctors are some Indian woman. Our doctor is a Filipino woman. Our doctor is a Jewish specialist. My doctors are black.
You heard the last Jake woman at the end. My doctors are black. Like, yeah, bitch, but you got to understand, you missing the point of what she's trying to make. I just used my example of shit where I was growing up and like, well, actually, I grew up in a place where there was nothing but Jakes. But when you go back out there, who's really running all that shit, man? Jake don't really own nothing out there like that. You go downtown and see all those high-rise buildings and everything else like that. You can go, I remember working in a high-end restaurant downtown on Peachtree Street, raised in the city, man. All right, you know, from the top of the staff all the way on down, it was all black folks. You had a couple Edomites in there working here and there, but the head general manager was a so-called black man all the way on down, man. And in this place, you had to go in there. You had to, it was a dress code. You pretty much had to have a suit jacket on, tie and everything to go in there and eat and everything. Cheapest thing on the menu was $30-something minus, you try to order a soda or some shit. But the cheapest meal was like $30-something on the meal, and it goes all the way on up, man. All right, so, hey, and then, you know what I'm saying? At the end all be all, and you're looking at, oh, well, everybody around here is all black and looks all black, but you go and you look up who owns that shit and who the people that started all that. It's a white man. It's an Edomite. All right, so, hey, this is what it is, man. All right, so, hey, you have to ask yourself or consider your ways about all these things. How do we come to this here spot, man? If you go to the restaurant I'm trying to explain, right? You go to the restaurant, the head chef, everybody in the kitchen is all Jakes. The servers, they all know how to present, and they all know how to do all these things. They all Jakes. The managers, they know how to run the establishment. They all Jakes. Why don't they just open up their own restaurant? Then you get into things like this, your black-owned banks, black-owned grocery stores, and everything else like that. Hey, it quickly go out of business because you know why? Jake don't really want to support Jake like that. And when they do, they always want to hook up. They always want, you go to these different things. You don't ever go to, you have your regular services and things like that. You don't ever see like somebody ask, hey, let me get a hookup on the lawn care. Let me get a hookup on this and that and so on and so forth. You don't ever ask for those things when you're dealing with these other nations, man. But when it's Jake that's at the, oh, brother, come on, brother. You got to hook a brother up with a hookup. And Jake will sit there and hook Jake up all the way through and through. And then Jake don't really like to take care of Jake like that and finesse their pockets and everything, until they go out of business because they've been hooking you up the whole goddamn time. And then once you all used up, oh, them niggas went out of business, man. And I'm going to go over here and fuck with these Edomites. And you ain't going to ask them for shit. And guess what? One of the things that I found out, in like the line of work that I do is the servicemen that be coming around to your house, man. Edomites be tipping these motherfuckers, man. Christmas and shit coming. We just had Christmas just passed by and New Year's and shit like that, man. Hey, you got Edomites that be sitting out a lot, bruh. Trust me, from my experience, these Edomites be lacing your pockets, man. All right, whether you're a trash man, you're a lawn man, or whatever, man. Hey, man, you come by on that holiday, man, Edomites got a whole thing of gifts for you, man. You come home with all these damn gifts and everything else like that and money and all these types of things. You might have an extra $1,000 just from going on your little route to work just because Esau want to give you $100 here, $100 there, and so on and so forth, man. But when it's coming to Jake, oh, man, that's their job to go do all that, man, and they ain't even worried about it, man. Making your job a living hell, man. All right, but let me read this one more time and we're going to get up out of here. This is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 43. It says, and a stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low, and he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend unto him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and to keep his statutes which he commanded thee. And these shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. All right, and it's still there to the same very day while we can't get up out of this rut. Because thou servest not the Lord Yahweh thy power with joyfulness and with gladness in the heart of abundance in all these things. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemy, which Yahweh shall send upon thee in hunger and in thirst and nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck till he has destroyed thee. And so, hey, that's the point right there. Consider thy ways, man. Seek the Lord and seek the answers that the Lord is giving you, man. All right, because if we change our ways, hey, the Lord's going to turn all these things around for us, man. But guess what? We refuse to change our ways. We just double down on our wickedness, man. All right, we just continue to double down. Oh, I don't want to know about this. I don't want to know about that, y'all. But the slavery and everything. Hey, all while Esau is like, because Esau is like, well, we don't got to hold them down no more. They holding their own self down, man. They the one teaching their own selves to hate their own selves and not to seek out and read and learn all these different things. They teaching their own selves not to, oh, I don't want to go and do this. Speaking of owning your own business, I know that beforehand, this is something I've always wanted to do is own your own business. I always heard, oh, man, you can't, you got to do it under the table. You don't want to have to pay taxes and all these different things. And it's going to cost a lot of money, and business insurance costs a lot of money and all these different things. And then you finally go down the path, you go and you ask some people about this stuff, and then you get into it. Hey, you find out, like, oh, okay, well, my business, insured to up to $1.2 million and everything. I got a $1.2 million insurance policy for how much? Less than I'm paying for my car insurance a month. So it's cheaper for me to insure my business at a way higher, whatever they call that payoff rate than it is to insure my car. Wait a minute, what are you talking about? Oh, the taxes and everything? You mean I'm about to pay a lot in taxes? Oh, you mean I'm actually getting money back from taxes? Oh, why wasn't I doing this shit from the beginning? You see what I'm saying? But see how people, Esau knows that, like they say, you want to hide something from Jake, put it in the book. So they know that, hey, look, we ain't even got to hold these niggas down no more. They're not going to ever consider their ways. They're never going to really seek the truth. They're never going to really go to that power for, some advice or some leadership and things like that. And they're going to continue to go into the madness of TikTok. You got broken, like the scripture say, blind leading the blind. A bunch of broke people with a broken mindset trying to teach, the next generation on how to, this how you do this how you do that. You got these folks that, quote unquote, don't need a man here and there, telling these young women on how to live their life. Go out there and be promiscuous and go do whatever you want to go do. For our women, guess who's leading them nowadays? The likes of Brittany Renners and everything else like that, man. All right. And then wondering why they ending up just like how she's ending up, man. All right. But they don't ever want to go and ask, how they would say the old lady that's been married for 35, 45 years, how did they keep their marriage together and everything else like that, man. So, hey, man, Jake need to start considering their ways, start to sober up. All right. Sober up and look around you and see if things really add up to be what it needs to be. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I'm going to say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, the great millstone that taught us this truth and ever will. And citation, much love for you. I can push in this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.